All right, we've accomplished that. It's 3 o'clock. It's Tuesday, April 27th, 2021, and this is the April meeting of the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District Board. Pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/7E, which amends the requirement of the Illinois Open Meetings Act requiring in-person attendance by members of a public body during the duration of the gubernatorial disaster proclamation. The MTD Board of Trustees, the Managing Director, and other MTD staff members will be participating in this meeting using a virtual meeting platform. This meeting will be streamed live on MTD's YouTube channel, youtube.com/CUMTD. That is youtube.com/CUMTD. For the public comments portion of our meeting, due to COVID-19, public comments may be emailed to public@mtd.org. That is public, the @MTD.org. They will be read aloud in the audience participation portion of the meeting in the order that they are received. Email submissions will be accepted until the time reserved for audience participation is over. At this time, we'll call the meeting to order. I'll ask everyone in the room to silence or shut off their electronic devices, and we'll ask for a roll call, please.
Barnes.
Here.
Chaplin. Here. Delgado. Vasella.
Present.
Hannon.
Here.
Nudo.
Here.
Dial.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. For today, we need to approve our agenda for today's meeting. If you take a moment to review that, I'll ask for a motion in a second.
That motion that we approve the agenda as written in our packets.
It's been moved and seconded to approve our agenda for today's meeting. Roll call, please.
Barnes.
Yes.
Chaplin. Vasella.
Aye.
Hannon. Nudo. Dial.
Yes, that carries. Next item on our agenda is audience participation. Clerk, anything from the audience?
Nothing from the audience.
Moving on to the approval of our previous board meeting minutes for March 31st, 2021, the open session. Motion and a second on those.
I move that we approve those minutes.
I'd second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes from the open session of the board, March 31st, 2021. Roll call.
Barnes.
Yes.
Chaplin. Vasella.
Aye.
Hannon. Nudo. Dial.
Yes, that motion carries. For the closed session meeting minutes from March 31st, you should have received those via email, and those should have been reviewed. I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve those minutes as submitted.
I'd make a motion to approve the closed session minutes from March 31st as they were emailed to us.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the closed session meeting minutes from March 31st, 2021. Roll call, please.
Barnes.
Yes.
Chaplin. Vasella.
Aye.
Hannon. Nudo. Dial.
Yes, that motion carries. Next item is communications. Carl, anything?
No, we don't have anything.
Board members, any communications that you'd like to share from the public over the last month? Seeing and hearing none, we'll move on to the managing director's report.
All right, thank you. Let me first say it's great to have so many board members here. Starting to feel like a little bit of normalcy. I think this is the first time we've had every participating board member here since February of 2020. So significant. And then just as a reminder, when Beth is calling roll, make sure you press your talk button to cast your vote, and then press it again to mute yourself. And with that, I will move on to the operating notes. These statistics are relative to March of 2021. There were 368,540 total trips in March of 2021. That's up about 50,000 from February of 2021. But more significantly, it is an improvement over March of 2020. So we were, it's not an improvement over March of 2020. Sorry, it's less of a decline than February was. So February, we were down around 74%. And now for March, we're only down from the previous, the month in the previous year, about 43%. So we're still down numbers, but that is, it's better to be down 43% than 74%. So we're moving up. The year-to-date ridership, that was down 69%. And then tech, if we can move to the next slide. This is something that our planning department put together just because March of last year was such a dramatic month for the entire world. But for us included, you can see the orange line is this year, and it's relatively flat, but slightly increasing. But look at the blue line from last year. The weekdays of March are on the bottom, and you can see, we were plugging along strongly like we normally do, and then boom, the bottom fell out, and our ridership just plummeted. So you can see the orange line this year is higher than where we were once the pandemic hit last year, and that is significant. We are taking whatever we can get, and they're baby steps.
Thanks for using a graph instead of those.
You don't like bar charts. That's right. Okay. Okay, moving on to operating revenue. March 2021 was 46.2% below March of 2020. And the year-to-date operating revenue was down 38% from FY 2020. And of course, that's primarily because we're not collecting fares on the bus. Operating expenses, the March operating expenses were 4.5% above March of 2020, and year-to-date operating expenses were 1.7% below fiscal year 2020. And then our year-to-date revenues and expenses, the year-to-date operating revenues are $2.5 million below budget, and the operating expenses are $5.9 million under budget. And just kind of a general comment about the revenues and expenses. If you'll recall, we passed a budget last year, not really having any idea what the impact of the pandemic would be. And so we just we held everything even. And so you can see our revenues are obviously down because, again, we didn't know what would be happening or how long we would not be collecting fares. And so we continue to this day not collecting fares. The operating expenses are below what the budget was that you passed because we have been operating at a lower level of service. The U of I has not been fully in person, and things have not been open for much of this fiscal year. And so our expenses are a little below as well. So we are hopeful that next fiscal year we will see some return of normal levels of service, and planning on returning to collecting fares again. And so revenue should be coming back as well. With that, Tech, if we can move on to the next slide, I think we've got some pictures to show you of our hydrogen project. So this is where the hydrogen production station is being constructed. Technically, that's on the property of 1101, our administrative building, but the concrete to the left of the picture is the 803 maintenance area, and so it'll be just built onto that concrete area. The next slide. This is an overhead of that kind of from the opposite view. This is looking west now toward 803 and just showing the progress of that construction. And then the next picture is actually the delivery. Oh, no, I didn't realize we had this picture. This is that construction then from looking at 1101, looking west toward 803. You can see the solar array on our maintenance building there. That's what we'll be expanding as we talk about the action item later in the meeting on the sanitary district property. But you can see the production station is progressing there. I'll just ask for the next picture because I don't know what it is. Okay, here we go. This is the delivery of our first fuel cell hydrogen fuel cell electric bus. So they put it on a flatbed, and that's a 60-foot bus. That is a really long flatbed to accommodate a 60-foot bus. It was interesting watching them get the bus off of that. But it did have just enough hydrogen in the tanks for us to back the vehicle off the bus, park it. And I don't think we have a picture of our temporary fueling station, because you can see by the pictures prior to this that the fueling station is not complete yet. So we have a temporary fueling station on the west side of 803. We don't have a picture of that, do we, Jane? Okay. Anyway, we actually fueled this bus this morning with the temporary fueling station. So if you see staff grinning a lot, it's because things are looking really like they're progressing finally with this project, and we're several months away from being done, but at least we have the temporary fueling so that we can operate the bus. We can start training operators and maintenance on driving it, because it does drive somewhat differently than a diesel or diesel electric hybrid bus. So baby steps again. So this is exciting stuff. And I think that's the last picture. Is that right, Tech? Sorry, can you use your mic?
Do you intend to get it on the road?
Well, we have a lot of training to do. It won't be in service probably until September.
Oh.
It will technically be on the road before then, because we'll be training operators on driving it and maintenance personnel on driving it. So it will be on the road, but it won't be in service until September. The second bus is expected to be delivered tomorrow. So we'll have both vehicles on site this week, and we can fuel and start doing the training. And with that, I'm going to give our new comptroller just a minute to introduce himself to you. His name is Nate Warman. So Nate, if you want to come up here and you can just introduce yourself to the board.
I am Nate Warman. As Carl said, I'm the new comptroller. I've been in the area for 8.5 years now, working at Martin Hood. You might recognize me as one of the auditors that's come out here for the last 4 years. Very happy to be part of MTD. A lot of exciting stuff happening, and I've have 8.5 years of experience of governmental accounting with the focus of auditing, obviously. Not sure what else you want me to include there, but that's kind of the basics there.
That's good. Thanks, Nate. We're really excited to be able to have the opportunity to bring Nate on staff. Our previous comptroller, Jolene Gensler, just to refresh your memory, she is now the comptroller for the village of Rantoul. And when she heard that we hired Nate, she immediately contacted Michelle and I and just said, I don't remember exactly what she said, but something about a home run and the fans are going crazy or something like that. And then shortly after that, I got contacted by the finance director at the Rock Island Mass Transit District because Nate also did the audit for them for several years. And so she also was very congratulatory. Everybody has always enjoyed working with Nate, and we're excited to be able to do it on a daily basis now instead of just once a year. So thanks, Nate.
Welcome, Nate.
He's been here a week and 2 days and is already contributing. So that's wonderful.
Awesome. Anybody have any questions for Carl on his report up until page 42? I will ask one question while everybody's looking through. You want to comment on Congressman Davis's legislation that he's proposed?
Sure. Congressman Davis has long been an advocate for public transit and MTD in particular. He has a really, at least currently until the map changes, he has a really goofy congressional district in Illinois. It goes from practically the eastern border all the way to the western border of the state from Champaign-Urbana. It includes part of Bloomington-Normal, goes to the Decatur, Springfield, and then into Madison County on the east side of St. Louis. So it's a large district, but he has a really transit intensive congressional district. So Madison County has a large transit system that feeds into St. Louis. And then, like I said, Springfield, Decatur, Champaign-Urbana, and Bloomington Normal. Those are all urban transit systems. And then it is shot through with rural transit systems like CCARS, which we operate, but I think 24 or so other rural transit systems. So he's got a lot of transit employees that he represents. He's been a great advocate. This particular piece of legislation he has introduced before, and it really hasn't gone anywhere, primarily because it likely, if it does go anywhere, it will likely be tied to the surface transportation reauthorization effort that is not directly tied to the infrastructure bill, but it is the surface transportation bill. The current one is called the FAST Act, and so Congress is actually that was extended a year last year, and it expires this September. And so Congress will be taking up reauthorization for that. This bill that Congressman Davis has introduced increases the percentage of the overall funding for the surface transportation bill that goes into public transit for what they call small transit intensive cities. And so a community like Champaign-Urbana, we offer a transit service that is at a higher level than it would be for a community normally our size. And that is because we have the university here. And so we have a higher degree of capital needs than a Decatur or a Springfield, because we have this campus service that we provide. And so this STIC funding, STIC, small transit intensive cities, that funding provides additional capital funding for communities our size that provide a high intensive level of transit service.
Thanks, Carl. We certainly appreciate Congressman Davis's input on that and efforts on that. Anything else for Carl from the board on his report? Seeing none, we will move on to our first action item, which is the Champaign Unit 4 School District Transportation Agreement for 21 and 22.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. This is an annual piece of business that you all take on. This is the service agreement with Unit 4 to provide transportation for middle school and high school students. We have been doing, I don't have the year in front of me, but I think like since 1978, we've been doing this service for Unit 4. So we have a long history, a long partnership with the school district. This agreement is, we're just holding expenses steady. And so it's an identical agreement to last year. And the school board will be taking this under consideration, I think in 2 weeks. It's mid-May that their board meeting will take place.
Any comment on this item from the board? Seeing and hearing none, I'll ask for a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Champaign Unit 4 School District Transportation Agreement for 2021 and 2022. Roll call, please.
Barnes,
Yes.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Vasella,
Aye.
Hannon, Nudo,
Yes.
Dial.
Yes, that motion carries. Our next action item is the solar array expansion contract. Jane.
Thank you. As the board knows, MTD is leasing land from the Urbana-Champaign Sanitary District across the street from our facilities in Urbana. And this solar array will provide the energy to produce the hydrogen for our hydrogen fuel cell buses. We completed the competitive procurement process to hire a contractor to build that solar array. We opened those bids earlier this month. We received 4 bids. Unfortunately, the 2 lowest bids could not be accepted because they didn't follow the DBE requirements. We have very specific DBE requirements that we have to follow with our grant funds. We have a goal for this project of 0.91%, so a pretty reasonable goal, but forms must be completed and they must be submitted, they must be completed properly, and they must be submitted with the bids. And we're very clear about those requirements in the bid documents, in the pre-bid meeting, in all of our communications. We offer to help bidders complete those forms without them telling us their bid. So we do make a lot of efforts to provide assistance there, and to award contracts that have good DBE participation. So the lowest bidder didn't submit the forms at all with the bid, and then the second lowest bidder did so with a DBE, completed the forms, but the DBE was not actually qualified for that work. And I talked to each of these bidders. I spoke to the DBE who was on the form that was considered invalid. I wanted to make sure that there wasn't some miscommunication with what they were certified for. So I even talked to the representative at the City of Chicago. The City of Chicago is one entity that someone can get certified for DBE through, and qualify for our DBE participation. And so this DBE told me that that's who they were working with. So I spoke to that representative at the City of Chicago, and we weren't able to accept that DBE participation. So that brings us to the request for award to Lions Electric. Lions bid was reviewed by Dewberry, the engineers who were working with on this project, and they consider it to be fair and reasonable. Dewberry's estimate was made last fall, and prices have increased since then. And so they have recommended award to Lions. We've done reference checks on Lions and on their subcontractor who will be doing the bulk of the solar work, and we've gotten good feedback, and so we're comfortable with this award. I'll remind you that this project is funded with a state capital grant, and the balance that isn't covered by the grant will be paid for with local funds. And I'll stop there.
Questions on this item from Dick?
Jane,
Yeah,
how
can you-
much-
Hey, Dick, or Bruce, Dick's gonna go first.
Can you remind us what the DBE refers to?
Yes. DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And so these are small and minority-owned businesses that have completed an application and certification process with the state.
Bruce,
Jane, when we build this, what percentage, I keep asking this, but because I keep forgetting the answer. What percentage of the electricity to generate the hydrogen for the two buses will this generate? About.
So the solar array and the hydrogen station, hydrogen production, are both sized to fuel about 12 buses. That's what we've estimated. So we're only getting 2 buses at first, but the hydrogen production will be able to fuel up to 12, and the solar array is expected to have enough power to cover all 12 of those buses.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, you have a question?
Getting back to the DBE, what's the percentage of participation for DBEs in the package that needs to be approved?
0.91%.
0.91.
Your mic's off.
Leave it alone. Were there a lot of companies that are eligible to bid on this?
There are certainly many companies that are eligible to do this work. Are you asking specifically about DBEs?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shouldn't there be a pre-approval of any company that bids that they have a DBE quotient or, participation before we're leaving $1.5 million on the table here. So I guess it's, can we not ask for that participation approval pre-approved?
So right now we ask for it to be submitted with the bid. If they submitted it before the bid, I think it'd be hard to do that without knowing what their bid is, right? Because the bid has to stay secret until the bid opening. So I don't know how they would submit those forms ahead of time without revealing their bid. This is the process that the state and federal grant funding has outlined for us, that the forms are submitted with the bid and they're opened publicly.
Well, if I understand, Alan,
Are you done, Alan? What's your question?
this is a follow-up.
Go ahead, Margaret.
What I think he was asking was, isn't there sort of a pre-approved list we can just pull out of a computer someplace?
Yes,
instead of
there
having
is.
to go
Yeah,
through-
yeah.
Yes,
the-
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. Yeah, there's a database and we direct all the bidders to that database. You type in the type of work you're looking for and every company certified as a DBE to do that work comes up and there's contact name, address, email, phone number.
It's the companies themselves that are just failing to do it. It isn't a lack of people that are available. It's just, when they contacted the low bidder, they just said, oh, we just didn't do it. So sorry.
All those DBEs that are certified for any work under the sun is available to the public. You, as a member of the public, could go to the website and look up everybody. If you want to find out what DBEs are certified to do payroll processing, what DBEs are certified to do electrical supply, what DBEs are available to do excavation, you name it, anything under the sun. And then you type in that piece of work that you want, and you get a list of everybody that is certified. And then you just contact them. All their contact information is right there. And as a proposer, you would just contact them and get a bid from them to be included in your proposal.
Phil.
Carl was very patient with me and we had a lengthy email discussion about this because I was as shocked as everybody when it came in over $1.5 million above. And then somewhat coincidentally, I got a call the next day from an attorney friend who needed me to do some consulting on a bid on a USDA facility he's bidding on construction for. And it was sort of strange, but I guess he formed a DBE joint venture with a disabled veteran. He's doing millions of dollars in federal contracting. And he was explaining to me the way it works. Most of these are joint ventures. There's I think between $10,000 and $20,000 a year software package needed to really do these right to produce the proposals. It's the kind of situation where the road to hell is paved in good intentions. So I think the federal government decided we should start trying to help small businesses, minorities get into this old boys club of federal contracting. And the reality has been that anybody who's an actual small or disadvantaged business is dealing with something that requires advanced consultants with advanced degrees and advanced software packages to even prepare a bid submittal for. But to the members of the public who are wondering why we're voting on this, our hands are pretty much tied by federal regulation. This is not a process or a concept that we came up with locally or even in Illinois. This is a federal process that was probably lobbied for by construction interests that have no real interest in working with minorities or disadvantages in any real capacity except as tokens in order to increase contract costs and just the general mess you get into with federal procurement. It's like making sausage. You don't really want to know how this is being done, but it's nothing we have control of locally. And unfortunately, I don't know that we have a whole lot of choice in the matter if we want to be doing this with federal money. So that's my 2 cents.
Or state money, because this is actually state money that we're talking about today. And, the other aspect of this that I see is we have one outlier bid, this $4 million bid that doesn't seem to make any sense in comparison to the other three that are all reasonably close. And due to the low DBE participation, it isn't like the DBE participation is increasing the cost here $1.5 million. There's something, either the low bidder missed something, or I mean, I don't know what, but something's not, I don't feel like something's right with that bid, and we don't know how they arrived at that number. So, but by looking at the other three numbers, they're reasonably close for the work that's being done. So, you know, I really feel like we've put a lot of attention on that low bid, but I think really it's some sort of I can't imagine how the other, if they have the right number, the other three people missed it by $1.5 million, and that doesn't make much sense to me. So that's my opinion. Additional comment from any of the board members before we take action? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion in a second to approve the Solar Array expansion phase 1.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Solar Array expansion phase 1 for Lions Electric in the amount of $5,650,000. Roll call, please.
Barnes,
Yes.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Pasella,
Aye.
Hannon, Nudo,
Yes.
Dial.
Yes, that motion carries. That is our last piece of action item for today. Our next meeting will be a virtual public hearing for the proposed fall 2021 service changes, and that will be Monday, May 3rd, 2021 at 12 o'clock. There's a web address there. And our regular next Board of Trustees meeting will be Wednesday, May 26, 2021 at 3 o'clock. It'll be right here at the Transit Center. I want to again thank everyone for rearranging their schedules for the meeting today. I appreciate it. It's super helpful to me. So thank you all. At this time, I will ask to move to adjourn to closed session to consider purchase or lease of real property for the use by MTD, and to consider setting a price for sale or lease of property owned by the MTD, followed immediately by adjournment. I'll ask for a roll call.
Do we need
Sorry, I'll ask for a motion in a second.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to go to closed session to consider lease or purchase of real estate or selling of real estate, followed by adjournment. Roll call, please.
Barnes,
Yes.
Chaplin,
Yes.
Pasella,
Aye.
Hannon, Nudo,
Yes.
Dial.
Yes, we will take a 5-minute break before we start our closed session so everyone can clear the room. Thank you.